So today's episode is called Artsy-Fartsy Stores or Picked Over Antique Malls. Where should you go for used vinyl records? So one of the situations you'll run into digging for used records, especially if you live in a rural area, is that your local antique malls and thrift stores will become stagnant as you've picked over, cherry-picked what you want, and most vendors aren't replenishing their stock. I've been looking for other sources as I'm now exploring estate sales, online auctions, garage sales more seriously, and there's also the artsy stores and the artsy-fartsy districts of some towns. So as I'm fueling up for a day of record hunting with some country hash browns, I'm in an area where I've checked out the local antique malls before, and I'm not sure if I'm going to find anything new. Some of these places are no longer in business or are more craftsy, home decor, record free. But let's go ahead and go inside the town square mall. So let's see what we can find. So I was here about a year ago, and record-wise, there was really just some terrible 45s. You got like this Broken Monkeys record. You got like this Mouse Nibbled Blondie. Pat and the Empires was an uncommon defined, not common label, early 60s ballad, but this one's in terrible shape, probably not playable. And so I moved on back to Atomic City, and the first stop I had was at Annie Clark's St. Vincent thrift store that I haven't visited before. It was pretty disappointing. They had cassettes, but no cassettes I wanted for my new cassette deck. They had some CDs. The only one I was interested in was that Cake CD, but it was labeled as very scratched, 5 cents. And so it was taped up. I took their word for it that it was very scratched, and I left it there. And they had exactly one piece of vinyl. They had 145 by Gene Watson, and I left that. Then I paid a visit to the Artsy-Fartsy district here in Atomic City, and I started it off with a first-time visit to Bricolage Art Collective. And it turned out that Bricolage Art Collective had some records along with the local arts and crafts.
We have some local CDs here. I've actually been looking for that Fate McAfee. Might actually buy it. There's vinyl, and then there's like used vinyl as well.
So there's like Chris Black, a local musician, Autograph, some 80s rock, and Spiral Carpets. I think they're buddies of Rob Walker, Let the Music Play. Julie Brown, you may remember her from MTV novelties like The Homecoming Queen's Got a Gun or This One Girl Fight Tonight. Oh, look, we got some Killing Jokes, so it's definitely not a Montavani kind of place. Oh, we got Glenn Gray and his orchestra. Maybe I spoke too soon. We've got some big bands here. And then you've got Golgotha, Lucifer's Mob. I'm not familiar with this at all, and it sounds pretty scary. Looking it up, it's actually a split album, so 2 different bands. German hardcore. Maybe I should have blind bought it. Killing Joke listed as much higher online. I will check. The Discogs median is $64. Wide Awake by Jerry and the Singing Goths. Maybe I should collect white gospel families with bad fashion sense. Liz Phair, who unlike Juliana Hatfield, makes some crappy albums that I don't need. Hard Nuts. Insert puerile joke here. It's basically 70s hard rock that basically belongs in the $5 bin. The GTVs with Shebang. This one looked intriguing and I almost got it. It's listed as being Garage Soul from Philadelphia. Hey, look what's below my feet, sitting on the floor. 45s. And so most of them are common ones like Julio Iglesias and Willie Nelson. But the 2 best ones, the weird ones, were Beard Splitter and the Simple Needs. So Simple Needs is by Jack Grell and the Johnson family from Missouri. Beard Splitter is on blood red vinyl with scary songs like Voyage of Slaves and Black Beard. The Old Lord's Blood River is in the lower right-hand side here of the local records. That's a local 7-inch that I already own. So here's the mini haul from the Bricolage Art Collective. So we're in the artsy-fartsy part of Atomic City here. And as you saw, they had like
local records from people from like this part of the state, some records and CDs, and then there was like some like alternative sort of stuff and new wave sort of stuff, and then there was like moldy oldies. It was a kind of a strange selection on the ground. So I did buy this country single, probably a little bit too much at $8, but it looked interesting. I like the guy's beard. Looks like it could be some cool alternative country. The other one, the Beard Splitter, I looked it up on Discogs. It's like Viking metal, worth about $4. Didn't have a price tag. They wanted $9, so I passed on it. And then this Fates McAfee guy, who I've actually heard of. I have a split single of his, and I'd actually been looking for this CD. I had it actually on my Discogs want list. I got that for $10. So that was probably a better deal than the single at $8, but the single could be interesting. Maybe I should have bought the Viking metal at $9, but I could have tried to bargain, but I guess I didn't really want it that bad. Finkel's Fair Stores. I wonder if Finkel sold 78s back in the day. Who knows? It looks like it's basically a fitness place downstairs now.
So here's another familiar played out haunt of this antique mall in downtown Atomic City. Some cassette culture with Alice Cooper and the Mormon Tabernacle Choir and Freedom from Stress. In case I buy an old-timey Victrola and need some spare parts. Here's a rare antique store find. It's Von Meter with comedy about JFK that did not age well. Here's a box of 45s that turned out not to be any good at all. Old school joysticks for your Atari. And when the record booth has the association's greatest hits for $24, nothing is going to be reasonably priced. I'm guessing the Alfred is overpriced as well. Here's another familiar place. This antique store happens to be closed indefinitely, temporarily. Now, I've been there before. They have a lot of vinyl upstairs. It tends to be very overgraded and overpriced. The owners will also follow you around, and it's a bit of a cringy shopping experience. I think I've seen some of their records in another antique mall, since they always write their grade and their price on the outer sleeves.
The Shed is another played out place. Hoping against hope, we have old overpriced booths gone and new correctly priced booths here. I suspect that's too much, but that's pretty cool looking. Screaming Jay. Oh yeah. Some car surf music. Mike finds things. Hey, look, since we started watching Karen Puzzles and actually started paying attention to the puzzles, this is the first Ravensburger I found in an antique mall, and I know that's supposed to be a good brand. It's supposed to be new sealed, so no pieces would be lost. It's got lots of words and different blocks. Bad reputation. There's a ton of Willie Nelson in here. Let's Rat for 25. Pass at 25. I know it's one of my high school nostalgia records, but high school nostalgia has its limits. And this stuff is before I went to high school. Alright, look. The 200 Megastore CD. But I have everything ripped on a hard disk, so I don't need that. Let's not clean up our merchandise before we try to sell it. All-in one. These pictures and go for 5. Fleetwood Mac beer trees for 20. So it was the same old overpriced record boost, so I didn't buy any records. You see, I did buy this puzzle. Thanks to the influence of Karen Puzzles. I did see there was like a teenage girl with a woman who might be her mom who was in one of the record booths, and they did buy a couple of things. They didn't do too badly. I didn't see what they got.